Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the AfterBuzz show for The Magicians. We are going to be talking about episode 12 called 39 Graves, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey guys, you liking this? We're going to groove. That you desire. Magic. All right, you didn't tune in for my singing, so that's a cool. Anyways, like I said, we're talking about episode 12 of The Magicians called 39 Graves, and we'll get into what that means shortly. And here I'm joined by my lovely lady co-host. Ty is out of town. He's covering WrestleMania, so let's go down the line.
Yes, hi guys, my name is Samantha Benitz. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Samantha_Benitz, Benitz.
Hi, I'm Adrian Snow. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow, and that's MSADRIANSNOW.
And my name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Twitter and Instagram at Kari D Lane. That's KARIDLANE, and Facebook Kari Lane Actor. So let's dive right into this episode of Magicians. Let's just get a couple initial reactions. What did you think of it?
This episode packed a punch. I liked it a lot from beginning to end. A lot of interesting love triangles, a lot of plot twists that I didn't really expect. And I felt like they really kept the energy up the entire episode. Like, I didn't find any parts boring or not important. I knew they were kind of leading up to something. So I really liked it. This was a good episode.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I think this one's a little bit more explanatory. So it was a little bit quieter and also coming down from like the whole emotional literal emotional high roller coaster from last week, but I did enjoy it. There are some people that I'm like, stop being so high, but you know,
That's
overall it's good. Yeah, right.
This is true. We can all agree on that one. I liked it as well. I thought it's explanatory, but in a good way, because there's quite a few things that you go, oh, like they finally give us a real. Maybe they're not quite like, oh my gosh, reveals, but they're, oh, okay,
telling,
that makes more sense, and it's a lot more clicking into place.
Right.
So let's start, since they tie into our main group. Let's start off with Julia, Katie, and Faith. What an interesting way to use your faith in something.
Yeah,
Right.
What do we think of that creature or guardian, whatever?
The man under the bridge.
Yeah.
The bridge man.
I don't know. He seemed like one of those like gatekeepers that just kind of has an attitude because so many people come up to him and try to, spit their game or whatever at him. And so he's like, I've already heard this story a million times. He wants to make sure whoever he's working with is doing it for a good intention. And it seemed like he definitely grilled Julia more than he did Katie. And Katie kind of received the healing or the miracle or whatever. So that did make me a little less skeptic of the goddess and those involved with her, which I wasn't really skeptical of her at all in the first place, but it was more because of Julia and Katie's past tendencies that I worried that they would somehow get into mischief somehow. So I don't know. I thought it was a cool gatekeeper, and I like the actor who played it. Actually, I thought it was a good show.
I'm still a bit skeptical of the goddess.
Yeah.
Just because, also because at the very end he said you can't unring a bell, so be certain when you call. And there is usually a price to pay,
right, for
when
everything.
it comes with magic, and then especially when it comes to interacting with old school gods and goddesses. So even if you give the gatekeeper a gift, I mean, I'm sure the goddess is going to eventually come around and want something. So, and I think that's definitely going to be something that Julia has to pay the price for, and not everyone else, because he did make it very clear that she's doing this for her friends. So, and that kind of made it sound like, well, then the price will come from you, not from them.
Yeah, good point.
That's a good view of it. I thought he was such an interesting character choice of like how, I mean, we haven't read the books, but still, it's like, it wasn't what I expected. I thought it was very entertaining, and I too am very skeptical. Like, we'll get to it in a minute, but when they're doing their spell all together, I was like,
Oh, where she healed everybody potentially of their ailments.
Vices.
But yeah, that one I thought was really kind of cool, and I'm glad that Julia's finally not like, oh, poor me, and whiny.
Yeah. Oof, thank goodness. Because I was so tired of that, Julia.
Done with that.
Did not like her.
Her color palette, I feel, has changed a little bit too.
Yeah.
She's on softer, warmer colors. Her makeup looks like she's doing better.
She looks
maybe not so
livelier,
haggard,
right?
like, oh no, drugs.
Yeah.
Exactly. She looked super stressed out before, and now she's finally coming into her own, and she looks like she's actually feeling good about the magic she's doing versus
She looks
like
somebody who had an addiction before,
Yeah,
and now she
exactly.
looks like somebody who's like,
Exactly.
clean up their game a little bit.
I'm going to the gym, drinking water,
I'm eating
healthy.
Yeah. So.
I've tried these new juice drinks.
Okay.
No, totally.
Detoxing.
And
Yes.
so I like that. And I was glad they they kind of showed how the goddess happened, but I like that they summoned it and she actually came, because I was going to be skeptical of that too. Because it's like, is she really going to come? Did you guys have any doubts that the goddess was going to actually show up?
I did. I think just because it was a dream initially, I was like, yeah, she did perform some cool tricks per se that I thought, okay, that seems like it was more than just a dream, more like a sign. But, you know, with these magicians or just people wanting to be a magician so bad, then you can conjure up images like that in your own head just out of desire. So I wasn't sure if it was actually a fact or just kind of something she wanted to see.
I didn't think I didn't know what the invocation was going to bring, if it was necessarily going to bring her, or if they were just going to like magically, you know, those things were just going to happen to them.
Right.
Yeah. So I wasn't, it was nice to see her there. I will say this about that whole storyline. I did feel the hedge witches were a little underdeveloped. I want to know a little bit more
the side
about them.
characters?
Yeah, the side characters.
Yeah, because they were interesting.
Yeah, they were interesting.
I want to know more.
And also to have more of an investment in who they were.
Yes.
So that I understand like the price that Julia might be potentially paying, and like and also have an investment in their ailments.
Yeah.
And even with Rich, when he and Julia
Get down dirty.
I was kind of like, I just wish I'd gotten to know him a little bit more as he interacts with Julia. So this would make a little bit more sense to me.
Do you guys trust him, or do you think that was? Yeah, no, I'm not feeling the trust there either.
I don't trust
I mean, maybe, but it was just
exactly. I'm like,
it just kind of came out of
if it goes bad, I won't be surprised. If it goes good, I'll be like,
okay,
good, nice.
Yeah.
It came out of left field for me,
right?
That their
chemistry,
that closeness,
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it's a solidarity kind of thing. I feel with all the hedge witches and how they were doing this event essentially together, because they're all probably the thing is, the show I think just doesn't get to show us how much time they probably have been spending together, because they've probably been together every day for like over a month plus.
That's true,
right?
And then that would speed up a relationship that they're
that's a good
lonely
point.
and
I would take one extra episode with more focus on the hedge witches, because there were episodes where we focused a lot on Julia in the beginning, and then by the time she actually seemed to be in like some type of recovery, we weren't focusing on her in the same way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. When I saw them two together, I was thinking, well, there's kind of a benefit in this for both of them. He seems to be lonely and just wanting like a woman's touch, honestly. And while she is also looking for some companionship, I think he also led her to the magic that she has been dying to use. Yeah. So, she's kind of formed a bond with him in that regard. But yeah, I don't see it as a substantial relationship quite yet. I'm not sure if they're leading into that direction, but it's hard to say.
That he has to get back to fictional Washington, D.C., so he can talk crap about Olivia Pope on Scandal. That's what I know, sir. Mister.
We're on to you.
You get back on that BNC. Okay.
Them with the witch, or not the witch, the goddess's flashback. I wrote a note and I'm like, they will die. I don't know why, but I had a moment that I'm like, I don't think there are any of them. That's a way out there left field prediction, curious of too good to be true, and it just like he went away. I just had this. They're going to die. They have died, or very suspicious.
I don't think it's going to be covered next week, because I think all the focus is going to be on Fillory. But
it might be a cliffhanger kind of something.
But I think that's something they'll probably come back to season 2.
Interesting too that they mentioned that it cured Mallory's cancer, I believe it was, and I'm thinking, I thought cancer couldn't be cured.
Mentally.
Okay.
Well, it is done by a goddess, not just regular people.
Right,
so
just like trickery or like by a book. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see if that can actually heal diseases like that, because then that's a whole different ball game of possibilities.
I still don't believe it.
That's
Too good to be true.
Right?
That's kind of a big thing to toy with, even in like something a show that's about magic, because that's a big. You hear that in everyday life, and people believe if you pray hard enough, you can pray away certain ailments, and not to say that there isn't something to be said about good juju, good vibes,
right?
But I hope that they kind of touch on that a little bit more about how not to say that the goddess is good or bad, but that maybe there's certain things that are even out of her realm. I don't know. So just toying with that a little bit more, you know what I mean?
We'll just see where they go with it, because like there's an episode of Babylon 5 where this child needs an operation. He's gonna die. And the family believes if you cut into him, his spirit will leave his body and he won't be good. But it's one of those, it's a catch-22. If he has the surgery, he will live. And they see him after and he's alive. So they have this moment and then they're like, oh no, he's not our child anymore. His spirit is gone. So you're like, okay, are you just saying that because you think it's gone or because something actually happened? So that's why I'm wondering with this of like what's
going to be
really
the outcome.
going on.
I just am curious as to how they're going to play with that, only because of like how that's encountered in actual world
real life,
and real life, and how it's encountered in fiction. I don't think anyone's successly been cured of anything in fiction without paying like some ridiculous.
Huge price.
I was going to say, actually, speaking of diseases and such, there's going to be a new show for Contagion. And Tuesday, April 19th on the CW is coming. Then There Is No Cure. The greatest enemy comes from within. From the co-creators of Vampire Diaries, Julia Plec, and award-winning director of Game of Thrones, comes the riveting outbreak thriller Containment. When a mysterious and deadly epidemic breaks out in Atlanta, a massive urban quarantine is quickly enforced. Loved ones will be torn apart, and those on both sides of the fence will be put to the ultimate test of survival. Not just fighting the disease, but fear, isolation, and the unknown. But is this virus an act of Mother Nature, or terrorism, or something far more sinister? The truth will not be contained. Secrets begin to unravel, society begins to crumble, but unlikely heroes will rise. Ordinary people will defy the most extraordinary odds. Don't miss the most utterly terrifying, yet highly anticipated new series, Containment. The must-see limited series event premieres Tuesday, April 19th. Catch it only on the CW.
Well, since The Magicians is ending soon, you got a little
we got another show to go over to.
Chris Wood, y'all, Vampire Diaries. Hot. All right.
And then transitions, because we had the director on here who worked on the Vampire Diaries as well.
Exactly.
It's crossbreeding.
It's all correlated.
Yeah. And did you notice also Arjun Gupta and the one of the chicks from the Netherlands?
It's a little weird to say.
Netherlands, the one that he faced at the end. Yes. Both were on How to Get Away with Murder. First season.
Nice. See, there you go.
Everyone's cross-contamination.
Do we have anything else with Julia's storyline before she catches up to Quentin? I feel that kind of
I think we covered that. Yeah, we got that.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see that Katie was not coming along for the adventure, that she was gone. So I do want to kind of know where that happens.
I do want to know where Katie goes. I'm happy
interesting about
happy.
Katie. Yeah,
I'm happy she's
happy.
Do
you think that's? I don't know. I'm feeling concerned for her since she was
there you
released.
Go. You're listening to this.
Yeah, I'm like, let me bring us back down.
Right? It's just
I really think so.
Oh
though.
no, this is sad for us, you guys.
Almost makes sense, because that's almost a modern medicine, or not a. Like how people could do yoga and release attention. Like she was holding so much anxiety and stress that it was a physical ailment on her.
It manifests. Definitely.
And so they were able to pull that out quicker.
Maybe I'm just really negative and I should just have a little bit more faith.
That's what they want.
The goodness of things.
Oh, but I did love the Julia's line. She'd want her daughters to show a little ambition. I was like,
oh my gosh, yes.
Just talking about that.
No, good point. I was going to say about Katie is that I think this whole, her forgiving of this weight on her chest and her feeling relieved of all this stress will kind of lead her back to Penny. I just have a weird feeling that now that she's not really feeling that as much, that guilt that she might be open to that.
She can talk to him and not be like, I can't talk to you. I'm tainted.
Right, there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Exactly. So maybe with one layer pulled back a little bit, she can go back in. So.
Yeah.
And speaking of Penny,
I was gonna say, hopping back over to our other crew.
Penny was the voice of reason.
Yes.
Well, except for that one thing. But for the majority of the episode, he was the voice of reason, which was like, what?
Well, he wasn't only like normally he's just the pessimist. But I feel in this one, he was the realist with a sprinkle of pessimism. Like asking Alice, what is going on?
right.
Which that was... So what do we think of our extra threesome footage? I was happy there was a little extra footage on that
You're
one.
right. They added it in.
It was good. There was a little bit more. Some of it was just like a repeat of what we saw last week. But I was like, I don't think I caught that.
But at least it was a longer take.
It was a longer take. It was good to see, but...
What? I love when you do that face and then you just say nothing, and I'm like, what's going on in that brain over there?
I mean, like, you guys get over it. There are bigger issues at hand. Like they were kind of. It was kind of to a point where it's like, get over it, get over it. I think they
bigger fish to fry at the moment, right?
A tad too long.
It's a little high schooly.
It was a little high schooly, sure, for my taste. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That moment was kind of funny. But then again, I felt like it was super fresh. And because nobody had communicated, you can tell Quentin really wanted to apologize to Alice. Alice was like, I want to cut your head off, stay 5 feet away.
He did apologize. And then she said, F you, you effing whore.
Yeah, and like slapped him
Lip
and
reading.
rolled out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we saw a quick little snippet of all that action.
What do you think of his argument of I was essentially intoxicated or under the influence because he did with feelings, and then her getting jiggy with it with Penny was essentially revenge.
Like, sober active.
There's a big difference.
She wasn't sober. She was drunk on triple sec, but...
True. That is true.
There are different emotional levels, and poo on Penny, but whatever, for propositioning her. And they were on a break. So.
Yeah, they were together.
She went with the technicality on that one, but I don't know. I don't know. That's kind of like reminds me of the excuse of like I was blacked out drunk, so I accidentally. I'm like,
it's one of those. It's never a good excuse.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, have a little control. But you know, I've never been under an emotion spell, so I can't say I understand, but. Yeah, that was an interesting conversation, and I see why Alice did that, but I think that's going to bite her in the butt more in the end, just because of how she views herself versus like how Quentin's going to handle it. He can at least have that type of guilt relief just by knowing he was under some type of pressure or, you know, influence, where she not so much.
I feel that was just immature on her part. Like like her, I felt she'd be a little more above that, but
she's like an eye for an eye, baby.
Whatever. Was Penny just trying not to listen in on them psychic wise? Because I noticed that I'm like, dude, you're asking what's going on. I'm like, you could find out really quickly.
They do have wards up. Majority of the time, that was a big thing, is that they all had to learn how to have their wards up. So
I thought it would have been funny though if those flashbacks he could have seen those and been like, whoa, whoa, God,
that would have been funny.
Right. That would have been amusing to be like, I know what happened, and like some sort of reaction.
You're right. He would have totally said it like that. So that would have been a good cutscene. Yeah, I like that idea.
Oh well.
Yeah, I mean,
I did appreciate their follow up scene, Penny and Alice, where he was kind of like, we're friends, it's cool, you know.
But I like that they didn't
show it.
Doing you a sex solid. Like, I do understand that mindset of like, oh, what's wrong? You want to have sex? Is that gonna make you feel better? Yeah. Okay. But from Penny's point of view, but from Alice's point of view, it's kind of like, I know people who have done like the revenge sex. I've never done it, but I know people who've done revenge sex, and whenever they've told me, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like, does it make you feel better?
Revenge
sex.
Oh, okay. I didn't fully hear revenge.
That's our voices in our ears saying revenge.
Yeah. Revenge sex.
The last episode, Penny and Alice were, bonding more. So it's
They're
not,
good friends.
Theirs wasn't out of the blue. Again, it's one of those, it's almost like I'm lonely, you're lonely.
Yeah.
Or I'm upset.
And she visited him in the hospital too when he was going through that whole, being stabbed. So she's kind of been there for him here.
I'm not doubting that. I'm just saying.
No, but I get it. Not in that
her
connection.
motives for having sex with him.
Are clearly, She even mentions Quentin afterwards. Like, I'm still thinking about Quentin. So you're 100% right in that regard.
And it's just like, hey, I get it. People go out, they break up, they have a fight, and then,
Stuff happens.
We were on a break. And you wake up with a bartender. Friends. But yeah. But it was just, I don't know. Whatever, cool. I mean, Alice needs to do what she needs to do for her. I completely support her getting hers. And I'm sure Penny did very well by her.
I know, and they didn't even show it, which I actually kind of liked.
That was interesting.
Like, I don't even need to see it. I can hear it and know it happened. And
I was almost suspicious of that, though. I was
like,
I almost need to see it.
Right, like, did she just do that and make the sounds?
Yeah.
I was feeling that, like that movie Easy A or something. She's like banging on the wall. I was thinking, that might be another little Easy A sketch there.
Penny doesn't get down like that.
You're right.
He'd be like, no, we're gonna do this for real.
We're gonna really do it.
That's it. Yeah, he would see it like, no, we're not fucking around. Excuse me. Well, then going onward, and then we just have someone who can't get over their emotions at all. We have Elliot, who is just wallowing into.
Oh my God, Elliot.
Same. I'm like, I want to backslap that boy and be like, stop it.
The psychedelic carrot.
When was the Mike episode? That was like 5 episodes ago. Okay? Which is probably like 3 or 4 months by now. I mean, I get it. He killed somebody. That's a serious thing.
But it isn't his fault the way he thinks it's his fault.
Yeah, and he gotta let that go, man.
Yes.
You don't have to let it go, but you certainly
can't carry it with
jeopardize everyone else's
livelihood.
Yes.
Exactly for that.
Constantly punishing yourself doesn't solve the problem.
No. Everything that went wrong once they left Break Bills was because of him. With the exception of Quentin being separated from them in the map. Everything after that, in the library, being banished, the stupid carrot, everyone have to run for their lives, everyone else having to do battle magic, Margot having to kill somebody.
Yeah, Margot stepped in with the gun. I'm like, okay. Like, she saved the day.
But yes, that was awesome.
I like that. That was unexpected.
Yeah, he needs to appreciate her a little bit more, though. Lately, he's been so standoffish, and I feel like she's always thinking about him. Like, she really is such a good friend to him, and even more. Like, they do other things, and that's the crazy part is I feel like he takes it so strangely afterwards, where she's, like, totally fine. And she's like, you're welcome, actually, to both of you.
Yeah,
like,
right?
okay. You do your thing, girl.
Totally agree. I just... Like, you almost need someone else on the outside to be like, no, really, it's not your fault. Because her telling him apparently doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, no. She even tried talking to him a few episodes, or last episode, and he was not having it. He was basically just, you know.
It's a stupid pouty puppy. Get over it.
Yeah, he wasn't, like, I know he feels like he was killing Mike. And, you know, he was killing the body of Mike. But Mike was gone.
Gone for a while.
Like, he was gone. And the person that he, like, loved was never there. Yeah. So... It's just kind of like, you got to let that go. I get it, but now it's affecting everyone else's life.
Yes.
So.
Do you notice when he's in Dark Elliot, his hair and eyeliner has changed? He has like way darker eyeliner, and his hair is like slicked back instead of the nice curls.
Yep.
I did notice the darker eyeliner. Yeah. Just like how when Julia's like in drug addiction, they like
bags.
Give her more like a baggy look.
Interesting. We haven't even seen Marina. I don't know why I thought about her, but then you mentioned Julia, and I'm thinking,
like, totally forgot about her.
Is she coming back in the final episode? Do you guys think?
No.
She's
so.
done
maybe
for
back
now.
next season.
She's in a whole other circle. Like they're just not.
She's on some other TV show right now, probably.
No, just like within the world of the show, they're just not even crossing paths. So
I know, interesting.
They don't care, and they're not scratching at her magic. So then, why does she care? Yeah. They're almost beyond her now, in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
But that's funny you mentioned because I totally forgot about her. I was like, before we were like, oh my gosh, I hate her, and now it's like
she was a problem. That's why I'm like, I don't feel like problems go away that easily. Like they'll go away for a little bit of time, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, I got a major obstacle right in front of me. So I don't know. I could picture her maybe coming back in the final episode.
Well, that's why I think she might return season 2, but not this season. And she is actually working on other shows. Like I saw her on Once Upon a Time last week. So I would hope they would just focus on Fillory. Yeah, I really want to know,
the goddess. We know about the beast is, and Vanessa. We also are introduced to.
Oh yeah, let's continue on to. We've gone to Fillory.
Yeah.
They went to the
Netherlands.
Netherlands. Which I don't know why, but that feels weird to say.
The guy from the
Class of 16.
Class of 16.
Yes.
What's his name? I didn't catch his name.
Oh, I didn't catch his name either.
We just knew he was from 2000 or the class of 16 or whatever.
We didn't really get to see what kind of ability he had, right? I wanted them to ask, be like, so what's your specialty?
Yeah, we just knew Vanessa was
of him.
a traveler.
I know, right? You're like, but then we learn who V is.
Victoria, yeah.
Yes.
Or was it Victoria or was it Vanessa?
Victoria.
Victoria,
Victoria, but they also he called her V.
V,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I loved her energy when he did his flashbacks of her like, I found Fillory and let's go
like,
and travel. Woohoo,
Yeah.
party.
And we'd seen her before when Penny traveled to the cage.
Yeah,
that
the
was-
hostage
We didn't
situation
see
she's
her in
in.
a happy mood.
Yeah, but no, it was great
Yeah.
to see, and also to see a traveler at like full power and like being able to pull 15 people with her. And
She's like, hold on, I got this.
yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
But I was suspicious of the guy,
Sure.
because I was like, well, he knows how to get to Fillory. He would need them to get to Fillory.
We'll find
Why
out.
hasn't he already been to Fillory if he knows where it's at? So I had a feeling that
That's actually a good lineup of good questions.
yeah,
Because he knows exactly where that pool is.
exactly where it is.
He said he's been waiting for anyone to come back.
Right, and it's been almost 2 years in
But
real
he
time,
didn't
which
feel
he
it was
didn't.
too-
Yeah,
he
he
said
thought
2
it was
months?
exactly. He
He
thought
said
it
a few
was a shorter
weeks,
duration
but
of
1
time.
week is a year. Yeah.
But I don't know if I was by myself there. Okay, there we go. We'll pose the question. If you guys were by yourself there, how long before you go, screw it, I need to go?
Right. Well, you have the risk of dying, so I'd be a little patient, but I definitely think I would be plotting my escape like on a day-to-day basis, trying to figure out, okay, where can I find a way to get out? What kind of spell do I need to use so they can't see me? Like the invisibility spell, that was a really good
But
idea.
the thing is that he is kind of useless to
The gang itself,
the
right.
game.
They probably
To the
wouldn't even
Nylon
care
game.
about them.
And he was able to walk up to them so easily
Yeah.
and pull them to like his little
Lair.
So I just
Yeah.
don't trust his motives, and
Sure.
I think he needed them to be able to enter Fillory. I think you have to have
I think you're
a
onto
traveler
something.
with you or something, or somebody who's holding the button or something with you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think
want
he
that.
might be the beast because I mean, the beast has
Or
already
working for him.
impersonated others before.
Or working for him.
Point.
Maybe.
Yeah, something like that. I want the little fruit thing that tastes like pizza.
I
Right?
know. I'm like,
I was
that
like, it
sounds
tastes like
good.
pizza? That's cool.
Yeah, on the go, just eat a little fruit that's pizza.
Yeah,
No less,
That'd be
no
so
fuss.
good. Oh, that'd be so good.
I just like that they could say pizza and it doesn't even matter what kind, but we all have our own pizza.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 4 toppings. No, I thought this was a super cool episode too because they finally gave us some context of the fact that they're in a time loop as well.
Oh, yes. Good transition there.
Yeah.
That was
That was
really
big.
interesting.
Yeah, that was super big because now we're
39
realizing,
times
yeah,
already.
they're just redoing this over and over again, and they change all the
Yeah.
variables, which explains why Julia was cast out of Break Bills. Which I knew it. I was totally thinking like these 2 parties are going to join, but I also thought Marina was going to be involved. So I don't know why I feel she's so in it.
Yeah.
but I don't know. I just feel like everybody's going to kind of get involved at the end to take this guy down.
Well, what I thought was interesting was that if they've been doing it for 39 times, that means how many times have these people like lived these lives? Like
Right.
even when the librarian was talking to Margot and she said Rachel,
This
and she's
time.
like Margot. She's like, yeah, this time. So what does that mean? Like, how old are these people? Like, and
That's a good question. Like, that's the only time I had thought of a different life
Yeah.
instead of a, like, couple months, year or 2
Yeah.
loop, not lifetime loops.
it seemed like it was an entire
You lot
lifetime loop, just because there are people who could have like even when the dean is like, I have the magic to be able to understand when I'm in a time loop. But for if it is something like where they know like this group can do it, then if they all are constantly circling back to their life and like the beginning of their life, they're all the same age, then like is this a time loop that happens like every 25 years they have to go back and restart everything?
Well, it's only, I think,
Yeah.
when it goes bad.
Yeah, it
They
sounds like the
push the
reset button.
But it's
exactly.
gone bad every single time,
Yeah.
39 times. So
So the question is, how far back you mean they go?
yeah, just because there are changes to their personalities and their
I
names.
feel it could be the whole lifetime, because if we think back to that first episode when she's talking with the dean on the park bench, we're running out of time, and the way they talked about it made it seem like
They've been doing
this has been
this.
their lab experiment and it's just not working.
And they went with Jane too to like 1942. So I'm thinking that was a long time ago. So the fact that they can go back there and witness her kind of younger years or whatever, or when she was actually there present, I don't know. That made me definitely think that it was like a lifelong time loop. But that's an interesting point, and it's a good question.
Especially if
So-
you want to build Quentin to be
25
like
times 39 or something
25
like that.
times
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
25.
A lot.
I can't think right now.
I know. I'm like, where's my
Don't
phone?
judge me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, guys, don't judge us. We're not. I'm not a math person.
Yeah,
10,000,
something
1,000, 10,000, 10,000.
975 if we do 39.
Yeah,
So yeah, about they could be almost a thousand years old.
Not 10,000.
They're
Yeah, I was gonna
practically
say,
wizards at this point. So
They're 1,000 years old.
Yeah,
and then
you're
the
right, 10
question
times
is,
1,000.
if they're in the time loop and they know they're in the time loop, then they just don't age, right? They're just in here that old. Oh, that'd be so frustrating. Well, like he says, he's like, you don't realize how many times I've heard you say this conversation.
Yeah. that was
Because
a good
he's aware of it, and I think the people from the Netherlands are aware of it, the librarians are aware of it, so people that are able, the dean says that he's able to feel that magic, which is a rarity.
Yeah.
So, and then Jane Chatwin, because she started it, and then people who exist outside of our realm can notice it as well.
But I wonder if they would notice, because that makes more sense that how the Beast knew Quentin's name and how the people in the islands have been waiting for him, because if they've seen him 39 times, they know.
Deja vu. I know, it's interesting. And also the scene with the librarian where she talks about how each book is like a life and
That was
documents it.
interesting.
Yeah, I was like, and then when a book is lost or cast out, so you can see that's a really bad thing. And then also she said to Penny, if you can survive long enough, you will really get the hang of it regarding traveling. So I'm like, okay.
He's like F, and she's like,
Yeah, so yeah,
Don't
you
need to
might
look.
survive, but you've pretty much died like multiple times, and so
Yeah,
does
yeah.
Quentin. It seems like, right? They mentioned that
39
he's
times.
Yeah, so
I like seeing more of the librarian.
yeah,
She's an
a
interesting
good- yeah.
character.
yeah, I don't think we're going to see anymore, though.
No, I think we're done with the library.
Oh, yeah, cast out.
But it's still interesting. I loved her pants in the last episode. Those like wide leg things. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah,
but I was,
very
like, on the
stylish.
trailer, the previews. What about those Netherland warriors?
yeah, and Penny kills
The
one.
death. That
Yeah.
was.
That was symbolic. That means something, and that changed.
Has
I don't
Penny,
know.
Penny hasn't killed. Well, none of our heroes, our main people, have killed
Except for
people.
Elliot.
Except for Elliot.
Mario killed someone. She killed that guy, and then Penny killed her. I think it was surprising to Penny because I don't think he realized he was
How
going to
strong?
do a kill shot. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Because
kind of felt like
Alice
that.
just threw that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then but she was going to kill him. She like was revving up, and he just
Yeah.
You're right, and he did take a second afterwards just to be like.
Yeah.
And we're like, run! So, yeah, he definitely had a moment of.
Well,
he
the
did a
stunt
nice
double
dive.
did that dive. Yeah, I loved all their plops into the pool and he's
Yeah.
just like,
Beautiful,
'Cause-
orchestrated.
Yeah.
if you know, I mean, we don't know how all our characters feel about death and murder, but if you know these people are the agents of the Beast, how much sympathy do you really want to have?
Right.
Kill
Well,
them
they're
now
not
because they're going to
agents
kill
of the
you later.
Beast. They're just
Mercenaries that work for him.
employees.
Of it.
Like they don't have anything to do.
Still.
They can't use the fountains.
That's almost a guilty by association, though.
Yeah.
But you know.
I don't know. And then the interesting tidbit that they also had for next week was only the best and the purest can hurt the beast. And I'm like, if I think about our group, I don't think we've got very good contenders here because nobody's really gone through this series without, making
Doing
a bad action.
something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Well, I think
So.
Quentin thinks that it has to be him, and I don't think that's going to be the case. I think someone else is going to rise to the challenge.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
we'll throw that in our predictions. But what other things have we not covered that we would like to? Finally, Quentin and Julia hooked
There
up.
was a lot.
We called that one. We were happy on that.
Yeah,
Finally
that
happened.
she will have to go to Fillory.
And they have the map. But we knew
Yeah.
that from the preview last time.
Yeah,
but
I was
still
like, that
skip.
map's going to come into play.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
little- yeah.
I like how she's like, you're inviting me to Fillory? But how amazing would that be if you, this is a childhood book you have known and loved, and now you get it's
Actually
real and
experience
golden.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love how it looked. The imagery was gorgeous. I love how it was like steamy and like the sunset vibes. I'm like, yes,
It would be
they're
like-
definitely capturing this well.
Actually being able to go to Willy Wonka's factory.
Sure.
I know it looked interesting, that little castle in yonder. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, okay,
Yeah.
what's going on over there? Is that where the beast maybe?
Well, I thought it was really cool that, we've seen Richard like focus so much on time magic and getting time travel. But he was aware of like this room that would have allowed him to time travel. I mean, I guess he
room?
wanted to get back to that space. The room that they went to where they got the machine that allowed them to go
yes.
to 1942. But I
Well,
guess he
they-
wanted to go back to a specific time.
Those
moment.
devices only take you to specific times
Yeah,
and places.
and that's
so.
and Richard wanted to go back to
Yeah.
a
Yes.
specific moment in his life.
Sure.
But it was cool to see like, oh, okay, so time magic is something that
I
they
like
can
the time
toy
travel
with and
magic. That was pretty
is
cool.
accessible. Yeah.
The question, when they jump, though, where does that object stay?
It stays in the
original time?
present,
Okay.
yeah.
But the question is, if it's just sitting there, can someone just pick it up and take it, and then now it's lost?
They probably won't know what it was.
That too.
Or maybe I don't know, maybe it disappears
Maybe it
to like where it
resets.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have to have magic to be able to operate it anyway. But there were a few like little Doctor Who references that I was like digging, like with the phone booth, and then the librarian tells Penny no spoilers, and I was like, yeah. For you
Even
Doctor Who
just-
fans out there.
Yeah, even just how their hands were on the device and how it lit up. I
Yeah.
almost was thinking, it's the TARDIS is about to take off.
Right?
Ready to go.
Yeah. I'm
We're
surprised
nerds on all levels, guys. Just saying.
on all levels. I was
Yeah.
surprised that nobody called them out in 1942 for not having proper dress.
I know. I'm like, you don't look like a sore thumb at all. Walking
Yeah.
over there, they're like
With Quentin with his long hair and tennis shoes, and
Julia, all
Julia,
stylish.
I would
They
probably
need to be
eyeball
like,
that.
they're foreigners. But there weren't a lot of foot
People,
traffic
right,
too
Yeah.
much. Because,
Yeah.
well, the air raid happened. So there's very
Yeah, so
few.
there were
and they're
not many people on the
occupied.
street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which that was in a Doctor Who episode as well.
But there was some. Yes, there was with Rose and
Yeah.
number
Jack.
9 and Jack. There was a moment when they were going into the phone booth, and I noticed that there seemed to be somebody watching them from a car. So
Yeah.
that was
I
nice to
felt
pick
it was
up on
someone
as well.
watching them as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't like their hesitation because I'm like, guys, go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you ready to go? No, I think I'd be like almost as soon as you'd be sprinting across the street
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you don't know
yeah.
how long that door's open.
I was a little nervous that they weren't
Exactly.
going to
It's
make it, or somebody was like going to
They're
attack
gonna
one
get,
of them.
yeah,
and
or
split
they
them
get
up.
there and the door stops.
Right.
Like, darn, you missed it.
Missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what?
I thought like Julia was going to get
Yeah.
trapped, like
Yeah.
Yeah, just only
blanking.
one of them
Trapped
goes
in time.
Uh-huh.
And they come back, and she's like an old lady.
That's also Doctor Who.
That is
The
Doctor
angels.
Who. That is. I couldn't think of. I still can't think of her name. Why am I blanking on?
Who?
Number 11's.
Eccleston?
Number 11. His
Smith?
companion. Yeah.
Oh,
Starts
I know.
with an
It's on the tip of her
A.
tongue. I see it.
Miranda?
No, starts with an A.
Oh, Amelia.
Amelia.
Amelia Pond.
Amelia Pond.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm tired.
It's okay. We
I
do a late
never
night
drop my
show. If
Doctor
you
Who
guys are
stuff.
watching
Yes.
this on YouTube, we do this.
Yeah, if you're watching this on the East Coast, like,
Yeah.
good on you, my friend. But yeah. Anyway, in any case.
Yeah. So
Who
I
do you
think,
guys think it was watching, if you were to
I was-
guess?
do we want to just go into predictions?
Well, we might as well.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it into predictions. There we go. I was like,
Let's make it official.
yay! Multiple lights. That's our hand
Ooh, okay,
gestures.
so who do you think it was? Eyeball.
I thought it was the Beast, or what is his name? His actual name?
the Beast.
No. his
Plover?
Plover.
Clever.
Plover.
Oh,
Clover?
okay.
Clover.
So you're saying, huh?
I thought it might have been him watching.
Could be. In that time period, it would work.
Yeah.
Too. And then that means he follows.
All right. And then I think.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Jumping in on that because we discussed this. So somebody on YouTube commented that the kids weren't really abused within that last episode, and we were like, we don't see it, but it happened.
Yeah, it's pretty
Just want
clear.
to
that's
comment
Yeah.
to that comment in this.
what's
but
happening.
Right.
Yeah,
Anyway.
he's definitely. I know people don't want
Yeah.
us to bring real world politics.
Yeah.
into the show.
Doesn't matter. Well, that's not even real world politics. That's just in the show. They're just
Yeah.
not going to show. Same thing how Penny and Alice had sex.
Right, it's
But
implied.
we didn't see it, but we know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, I think that's a very good theory that he was watching them.
And then also I think I had a prediction. Now I can't remember what it was.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
It's okay. No. I think that, like what I said before, I don't think Quentin is the one who is the purest of heart or whatever. I think it's gonna end up being someone else who's able to do it and step in. And it might actually be. I think it would be really cool if Katie somehow ends up in Fillory, or if, like it's just some random. That, and I also want to know. I still think the guy that they took along with them is like somehow in cahoots or the Beast.
Sure.
And I also kind of think we're being thrown for a loop of thinking that Plover is the Beast, and I think it might be someone else. So
That's a good point.
That's a good question. Yeah.
I think who was watching from the phone booth or across the way was Jane's brother. I'm thinking the brother that she was there with
Maybe.
Clover. Yes, Martin. And then I do think that in order for them to be the best and the purest to hurt the Beast. I feel like they're gonna have to do some like confessional all together and like combine their powers. But in order to work that way, yeah, exactly. But they'll have to like admit their wrongdoings and actually own up to their. Just because I feel like nobody's pure. Like if I really think about it, I'm like everybody's done something. Yeah. Maybe I'm missing something at home. Let me know. But yeah, I feel like that may happen. I see a romance pending with Julia and Quentin, despite Alice. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out.
I think Alice thing is over.
If for now, I think not this season. We're not going to see a reunite, just because, especially she slept with Penny allegedly, and that's going to take some time to heal from. And so the next episode should be definitely another visit to Fillory. I'm imagining with the whole gang, hopefully, but I don't know if they're going to bring Elliot or what they're going to do in order to kind of get his head back in the game, because he seems like he's kind of slowing them down just for the time being with his guilt. And yeah, I'm excited to see kind of what's going to happen and how they're going to close up this season.
Yeah, lots of good stuff. Good question. I do agree that Plover. I don't know why I was thinking Plover. I do think it could be him watching them, because it felt ominous, not quite curious.
Right. Okay.
I want to go on a limb and say Julia might be the pure one, because she's gone through this process. So maybe she has become pure.
Right.
And she's the other one who knows about Fillory.
She did kind of change. She did reform her actions.
Yeah. And then Quentin's like, oh, I know about Fillory. She does too. So she's qualified in that way. I want Elliot to get a wake-up call. I wanted it to happen this one, but it didn't happen. So this is I want to happen. I don't know.
Well, maybe he'll go into that river or lake they were talking about.
Yeah. Ooh, there you go. Please, he goes in the river. Yeah. Cleanse that all off. I would like Katie to join them somehow. Well, she didn't say what her mission was, right? Julia's just like she's on a mission.
Right.
Do we think Julia knows what that mission is, or
I think so? But
okay,
yeah,
because I would hope she can join. I hadn't thought of it before, but I do like the idea that maybe the Beast isn't who we think it is. Like maybe it is the brother, not the abuser, Which someone had suggested that they thought the brother was
the Beast.
Yeah.
I think I might have referenced that, and then I saw I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
It could go either way. It could be the monster himself or the monster that was created by action, And
then if Jane's in there, can Jane join them?
I'm hoping so. I think
Jane
she'd be a good guy,
because they said that in time there is not, definitely not. There you go. That's another road too. It's not linear. There's some timey-wimey.
Lovely.
Yep. So we'll see. I don't know.
Ooh, I'm excited. One more episode to go.
I know. Oh my God, it's almost over. It's so sad. But we'll have a season 2.
We will have a season 2, which is exciting.
Yes.
Anything else y'all want to add?
No, I think that sums it up for this week.
So thank you so much for watching The Magicians After Show on AfterBuzz TV, covering episode 12, 39 Graves. Make sure to follow AfterBuzz on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all those social media, Facebook. Comment, like, thumbs up. iTunes for Ty's way of 5 stars if you're nasty. And we love those comments. We love seeing what your guys' opinions are. And yes, we do comment on them and we read them. So why don't you at least let them know how to find you?
Once again, I'm Samantha Benitz. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Samantha_Benitz.
And I'm Adrian Snow. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow.
And my name is Kari Lane. I can't talk right now. My name is Kari Lane. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kari D Lane. That's KARIDLANE. And Facebook at Kari Lane Actor. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for the finale. Woohoo!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.